lab-grown meat, or should I say lab-grown scam, because that's what it is. It's a scam. It's a Trojan horse that's going to destroy veganism and the real chances for the animals to finally be free. It baffles me that many vegans are on board with this idea of the lab grown meat. And it baffles me even further that they think that this will work, that this is an actual good strategy. Well, allow me to, to tell you that no, sorry, it's another failure. It's DOA, dead on arrival. We have to look at the history of these already available plant-based meat alternatives. What has been the reception? What's been the perception of the general public? It's been mostly negative. That's the reality. The meat flakes, the numquats at large, for years they were saying, "You make plants taste like meat and I'll go and eat plants." Alright, challenge accepted. We finally did it. And when we presented them with these Beyonds and Gardens and well, whatever brand, what did they do? What's the reaction, the response? It's not healthy, it's processed, doesn't taste the same, doesn't feel the same, it's kind of, the texture is off, it's expensive, all kinds of negative connotations and all kinds of excuses. They came up with new excuses to not switch to a plant-based diet. Here's the thing, this lab-grown meat is going to be the same all over again. It's just going to be another product that's going to be out there, that's going to be parallel to the already available, to the real plant-based alternative, which is the actual plants, the whole foods, plant-based foods. Yeah, that was kind of redundant, but yeah, those whole foods that are already available, they didn't want that. Then we came up with these plant-based meat alternatives, they didn't want that. And now when this lab-grown meat happens, they won't want it. That's it. It's not going to happen. They're not going to want it. They're going to come up with new excuses. It's some of the same excuses, but some new. Like, it's not natural. It's in a lab. That's what it is. That like a scientist made the meat. That's not what it is. I want meat from a farmer that I know. I have a local butcher. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the exact same idiocy from those people. Not to mention the fact that many states now, at least in the US, are reportedly lining up to ban this new product. There's the other talking point. Some vegans are saying, well, because of how it's done, it will greatly reduce the harm and the suffering and the number of victims will be greatly reduced and all of that. And I hear a lot about that, about reducing and reducing suffering and suffering of the reducing. People, no, it won't do any of that. Because the only way that would happen is if lab-grown meat would entirely replace the entire, another redundant thing, the entire animal agriculture setup that we have going on right now. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. But the biggest problem with the lab grown meat stuff is that it uses animals. It perpetuates the status of animals as things, commodities, resources, products, slaves. Under this new technology, the animals will still be enslaved by us, the humans. Even the ones that are not using animals, because they are, after all, they need to draw like a blood sample from animals to make their lab-grown sludge. The problem is that even the ones that are not using animals are talking about mixing some real animal fat in it for more texture and flavor and whatnot. And that's a big problem because you see, we're still, like I said, using animals. I don't really see the reduction. I don't really see how this will lead to veganism. Another talking point is that, well, some people are just not going to change. And because they're not going to change, let's just give them this lab-grown sludge. Yeah, I don't think so. I already told you why this is not going to happen. They're not going to prefer that to the real thing, the real meat from a real cow that they know or whatever. So there's going to be a lot of pushback. There already is from corporations, farmers, politicians, lobbyists. You know how it is. I see it this way. When this finally rolls out, like at a massive scale, what's going to happen is that this lab-grown stuff is going to be like this novelty product that at first it will sell because of the curiosity factor, the novelty curiosity factor. It might make a huge impact at first, but then it's going to start to die out and nothing. It'll become obsolete in no time. In fact, I predict that in less than a year, it will just be another thing that failed because of the real vegan blind spot. That's the video that I have pending yet, and I might make it now. But the real vegan blind spot, just to give you a preview, is that we, the vegans, have allowed veganism to be perceived as nothing more than a diet, a lifestyle, a food preference, when we know it's not. We know this is bigger than what you have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's the main problem. Lab-grown meat won't solve animal slavery. It won't abolish the animals. It will only be another thing that they're going to attack us with. And the animals will still be the victims of the greatest injustice ever committed. Now some are saying that the technology itself might be worth something. Sure, the technology might be worth exploring, but not at the expense of actual victims. Draw a sample of yourself. Make human burgers from consenting adult humans. Let's see if that happens. It always seems like when it comes to other animals, we're quick to make any decision for them. Decisions that we would not make for ourselves. Something to think about too. That's all I have to say, really. So see you in the next video. The vegan blind spot. The real one, not the one about Humane Hancock crying at the vegan camp out. Alright, see you.
AJ out! I'm gonna live forever!